Dark circles, puffy under eyes, fine lines, dryness.
Not cute!
You know how sometimes you forget to wear under eye makeup, or you don't wear concealer, or you just roll out of bed and you just can't be bothered putting on makeup, and your friend's like, oh my god, are you okay? Is there anything wrong?
So what's the deal here? Are we able to reduce these things, and is it all related to sleep, or is it something else?
You've probably heard the saying that eyes are the windows to our soul, but today we're gonna learn that eyes are the windows to our whole body.
Dark circles and puffiness also tell us a lot about our sleeping habits, our eating habits, which may or may not be one of the biggest factors into determining what is actually not functioning right within our bodies, because it will start to show up through the eyes. So fear not, friends, today's video we're going to talk all about
how under eye bags and darkness forms around the eye,
why some people have it and some don't,
the role eye cream plays and if they really work, psst, they may not, and natural and affordable ways we can create our own eye cream to help with dark circles and puffiness from the inside out.
So before we jump into it, make sure you've subscribed, you've liked, and let's get into it!
Let's start off by understanding the eye area a little better. The skin around our eyes is called the periorbital skin, and the skin under our eye is significantly thinner, doesn't have as many oil glands, and can't produce as much collagen or elastin as the skin on the rest of our face. This makes the skin under our eyes more prone to moisture loss and dryness, which is why we get a lot of fine lines and wrinkles in general right here.
Crow's feet.
First sign of aging.
And then with this in mind, we also have things like capillaries, which are really small blood vessels that lie right under the skin. Because blood vessels also expand, they carry blood. So when that happens, it will make it seem as though you have dark circles because the blood is actually showing through that really thin skin. But we'll get into dark circles in just a bit.
So the skin under our eye is about 0.5 millimeter thick compared to 2 to 3 millimeters on the rest of our body. So it's kind of like really being able to see through your skin.
Yeah, it's like, what's that power you see through thing? X-ray vision?
So if you're genetically blessed with thicker skin under your eyes, you might not be as prone to dark circles. That's why you have some friends or some people you know who may just only sleep for like 2 hours at night, but then they look so refreshed and it looks like
like it never happens to them.
Yeah.
Actually, this occurred when I was in college. You know how some people like stay up all night and the next day they haven't slept a wink, but they look fine, and I'm like, So now that we know more about the skin area around our eyes, let's delve into the two most common eye problems that we face. And this is dark circles and puffiness. Let's start with dark circles. This one actually really hits home for me because this is something that I suffer with. Most people will say that dark circles come from tiredness, fatigue, lack of sleep.
So it turns out dark eye circles aren't just from one specific cause. There can be many, many different reasons linked to different parts of your body. It could also be genetics. So if it runs in your family, you might be more likely to get it. And if it's not genetics, it could be sinus problems, allergies, adrenal fatigue, stress, and lack of sleep.
So if any of the 5 things that Rowena just mentioned are off balance, this is the reason why dark circles really do appear on our face. And it's not just like one thing, sleep, right? Because sleep is also linked to a bunch of different reasons. Maybe you're stressed, maybe you're not eating right. And then the reason why it appears like this bluish purple sometimes because of the pooling in the capillaries or the blood vessels. And this is also known as venous pooling.
But why are dark circles so dark to begin with? So the intensity of the darkness under our eye bags actually has to do with the capillaries expanding and contracting. So let's say if you're lacking nutrition overall in your body, your blood vessels tend to dilate so that more blood and nutrients can flow through. So because the skin under our eyes is already thin to begin with, and if your blood vessels dilate, it just makes the under eye area so much darker and more intense.
But it also happens when we're hit with things like nervousness or anxiety or other like mental imbalances, which then causes like blood to rush everywhere in our body. And this actually causes adrenal fatigue. And what happens is that the adrenal glands are underperforming and our body releases cortisol, which then makes it harder to sleep. And we get even more stressed out because we're not sleeping, which leads to dark eye circles. So it's like a cycle.
But wait, there's more. If you're lacking sleep, it also affects your hormones, and beyond just your eye bags, it also causes acne. So it's this downward spiral. So the key takeaway here is that when we lack sleep, our brain and body just, doesn't function as well as it's supposed to. This is why you'll hear from many Eastern and Western doctors and medical practitioners that sleep really is the cause and the cure for a lot of things. So let's break it down a little more. There's the circadian rhythm, which I'm sure most of us are familiar with. There's an internal clock in your body. When the sun's up, you're up. When the sun goes down, you go down and sleep in bed.
Horizontally.
Yes. And this was something that, from many, many years ago, from our cavemen ancestors, this is something that they've always practiced. And then in the East, there's the organ clock, which according to traditional Chinese medicine, each organ has a 2-hour time period each day where it's the most energized and working the hardest, affecting everything from our emotions to productivity.
So for example, when we wake up around 8 or 9 o'clock, the stomach is in full action, because this is probably why they say breakfast is the most important meal. This is when stomach is like proactively churning nutrients and things and energy for our body. And then the heart and the small intestine are in full action in the afternoon from about 12 to 2, which is the time of lunch, eating once again, and digestion and things like that, because it has to keep your body going and keep refueling. Then from about 3 to about 6 or 7, the bladder and the kidney is also working to store, create nutrients, build bone marrow, and basically just support your body.
So this is a great time to just get work done because your body's repairing itself and you can repair your life by doing work.
Yeah.
My mom always tells me you need to be in bed by 10 or 11 because if you're awake, then all your organs are also staying awake to help you stay awake. So it won't be able to do the cleansing and the detoxing.
And so that's why the next day, if you're awake, you'll be like epic fatigue. So just remember, sleeping isn't just for your conscious benefit, it's actually for your body to ultra repair. All the blood vessels are expanding to take in more nutrients. So regardless of whether you believe in Chinese traditional medicine or not, even a lot of Western doctors also say anything to help with sleep is imperative.
And I think the root of all of the eye issues, especially dark under eyes, it's a very internal thing.
Things like acne, inflammation, and dark circles all actually stem from within.
See how everything is linked? So here are some examples of lifestyle choices and how they influence our dark circles.
Diet. So things like dark circles and inflammation and acne can also be linked to consuming too many yin foods or cold foods. And this includes
raw fruits, salads, veggies, smoothie bowls, all the things that I like. Cold
all the
water.
healthy stuff.
It is healthy, but according to traditional Chinese medicine, it's very cold. If you eat too much cold foods, it's a shock to your body. And this is something that my mom always drills down and tells me all the time. So this isn't to say that these products aren't good to eat, it's that you should try to consume less of cold water, cold drinks, and smoothies during wintertime.
Balancing
seasons.
everything.
Yeah, and raw vegetables, instead of eating it raw, you can lightly saute it or lightly cook it or steam it for a few seconds and then take it out. That will turn a yin, which is a cold food, to a more yang, which is a more warm or hot food.
My mom would say drink warm water and hot water versus cold water in the morning. And actually this helps to loosen the bowels and everything.
So let's talk about de-stressing so that we can get that well-rested sleep.
Because it's the worst when you're all in your thoughts right when you're sleeping and it's dark and your mind just goes off into a different place and then you're up for another hour. And these are some of the things that we personally do. So you
meditate, journal, read a book before bed, and I try not to touch my phone at least an hour or two before going to bed because the blue screen can keep you up.
And then if you like drinking a lot of soda or things like that, you should probably stop that after at least 6 o'clock. Move over to things like non-caffeinated teas. I really like this one. It's well-rested tea from Trader Joe's, not sponsored. And I also drink turmeric because that also helps flush out things during the night and then, I'll be healthy in the morning.
This
the toilet.
Is coming from a girl who used to drink coffee at 10 p.m.
Yeah. So everything like that, just be conscious of the little activities that you're doing right before you sleep. Moving on to the second most annoying eye symptom is puffy eye bags. So I'm sure a lot of you have woken up to 2 parachutes under the eyes, like something just exploded under there. Or if you've been crying the night before and it's extra swollen and puffy.
And it makes you want to cry even more.
Cry!
Eye bags are pretty common and they're more of an internal problem, specifically a kidney problem, which relates to how much protein, potassium, and sodium we consume in our diet.
So let's break these 3 things down. First, protein. Among the many jobs the kidney has, the main job is to filter waste materials from your blood. So it essentially cleans out your blood, and a lot of this has a lot to do with the diet or everything that you're eating during the day. So let's say the night before you loaded up on a bunch of fried chicken or deep fried foods in general, or just like high protein. Yeah, high protein, high salt and oil, and you don't have any vegetables with that. What happens is your body can't actually process over a certain amount of protein, which is more than like a serving. When you have excess, this will really strain the kidney and the liver, which are the 2 most important organs that have to do with detoxifying your body naturally.
Vegetables are high in potassium, and potassium are one of the reasons why you have puffiness under your eyes.
Think about the last time you had anything like ramen, fried chicken, anything high in salt, and you're like, this is delicious. And then straight afterwards, maybe like 30 minutes or an hour later, you're like, help me, I'm so thirsty. So your body gets dehydrated, you fill yourself up with water to combat the dehydration, and then the body retains the water because you've just loaded up on sodium. And then because your body's retaining more water, it shows up as bloated and puffy.
So the thing is, salt isn't bad. Like, you don't need to avoid salt. This happens if you consume too much sodium and too much salt.
So put simply, potassium is able to help drain all the excess fluids that having too much sodium will generate in the body. You need 4 times the amount to help balance extra sodium. Otherwise it will be like bloated with not enough vegetables and things like that. Another tip to reduce puffiness, especially, this one's definitely worked for me, is when you're sleeping horizontally, you want to like raise your head a little bit so that during the night when you are sleeping, the liquids aren't forming all in your head. Like, some people don't use pillows when they sleep and they're just like this. And then so all the fluids in your body is actually flowing and like making your face bloated, which is why we wake up bloated in the morning, and then after maybe 1 or 2 hours it like drains. And also sleep with your head facing up so that all the fluids drain towards your heart, because it's all like circulating around here anyway, so you're like directing the fluids to go that direction, and so when you wake up your eyes won't be as puffy.
There's also eye patches. So there's the hydrating eye patches that you put on under your eyes that I'm sure all of you are familiar with. So those are more for like external hydration properties, like nourishment for your under eyes to like moisturize it. And then there's also these eye patches that we found, and what this does is there's acupuncture points and acupressure points under all of these points, and the eye patches are these, it's like a blend of Chinese herbal medicine. It's kind of minty. I think there's actually mint in there, and what it does, it's supposed to help you actually brighten, lighten the color around your eyes, get rid of dark circles, help with puffiness, helps your
refresh.
It also helps with exhausted and tired eyes that say if you're constantly looking at a screen, watching
which
our videos,
we're all guilty of.
It helps alleviate the stress of your eyeballs, which alleviate the stress of your whole body.
Yeah.
Because as everything we talked about in this video, our whole body is all connected.
Holistic functioning.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I tried these sticker patches for the first time, at first it was like overwhelmingly minty, but then you really do feel like, because I look so many hours at the computer working, editing, and then I go home and maybe like watch videos so it's continued, I really feel like my eyes are dry. I also have dry eye, but this like helped lubricate it because of that minty sensation, and you actually leave them on for a couple of hours from memory.
6 to 8.
Yeah.
So it's good to wear it at night.
But one question, are you still with us? Moving on to eye creams, which is probably what most of you came on here to find out. So eye creams, it seems like there's one for everything that could be wrong with our eyes. So does it actually work?
Yes, they do in theory, but they're pretty much just a diluted version of your moisturizers put in a smaller container. So basically you're paying a premium on something that is diluted and has less active ingredients.
Yeah, so if you look at the back of the packaging, it does have all the active ingredients. Like sometimes they have retinol, they have hyaluronic acid, but when it comes to the eye, you want to be much more gentle with it. The skin under there is so thin, it's so sensitive, which is why eye creams are just kind of like a diluted version of your moisturizer. So if you really wanted to, you could actually take one of your moisturizers and dilute it with a really simple, you know, like Cetaphil, CeraVe moisturizing lotion, mix it in. like a tiny bit and then just dab that around the eye as you would by buying an eye cream. So yeah, just know that, guys. It's the same thing. Personally, I do like eye creams and some of them have shown to work a little bit better than others. Which ones have you tried?
I personally don't use that much eye cream, but the one that I use the most would be Fresh Black Tea, I think firming eye cream. It's very thick and creamy and it goes on very nicely, and I've never broken out or gotten milia from it.
Milia, which is like from using too many thick creams and lotions around the eye, and it's actually
white thing develops under your skin.
Yeah.
It's not a whitehead.
and you have to laser it away. I think my mom had to laser a bunch of hers away.
Diet helps too. I've also tried the Drunk Elephant serums, which I personally found were not too effective for me. This is an eye serum. It's not an eye cream, and I think I'm more used to the consistency of eye creams. It just sat on my face.
Yeah.
It's hard to, it doesn't really soak in.
So the thing with eye creams, out on the market, there's eye creams for dark circles, eye creams for puffiness, eye creams for moisturizing and dryness. The dryness part is what everyone needs to look for. The thing with dark circles and puffiness, they don't actually cure it because everything is, once again, happening underneath. The puffy eye creams will have a metal bud because, you know, it helps to deflate and depuff, which is like from the cooling sensation. So you can actually just use a spoon and essentially apply your eye cream and it will like do the same thing and you can save yourself $30 to $40. Yeah. And then things that are marketed as like helping dark circles aren't actually helping because once again, it's like the contracting of the capillaries, which you can also do by cooling the under eye and getting more sleep. What they put in as a helpful ingredient is things like vitamin C, which is like brightening. It brightens the skin, but it doesn't brighten the problem of dark eye circles.
So for vitamin C, Dr. Wu has a really good vitamin C eye cream.
I think it affects people differently. I think the first time I used the Kiehl's Midnight Recovery Eye Cream, I definitely saw brightening under my eye. But that was also because I was young. And now I am aging.
You're still young.
I'm still young, but you know, you just like go through different transitions of like skin problems. I think it would be interesting if I tried that again to like see if it still works.
And then on that, the Kiehl's Avocado Eye Cream is pretty good too.
Oh, for like nourishing.
I personally used it when I was younger, and then I know it's a holy grail for a
lot
lot
of
of
people.
influencers and bloggers.
Yeah, it's more about moisturizing it than anything. When you put on concealer, you put on any foundation, it'll cake up and you will see that dry, flaky nastiness. So the moral of the story is to just moisturize it. And the one that I really love that I'm using now is this Volition Helix AM PM eye gel. And I think is one of the best eye gels that I've ever used to put under makeup.
Whoa.
It's like a velvet gel that's matte and it just smooths over all the lines. If you want like a boost of brightening, this one also works too. The Dr. Brandt No More Baggage. It's for depuffing and it's for brightening. And you can see this within the first few minutes of wearing it.
Because it goes on orange.
Yeah, it's orange. And then it's slightly minty around your eye. Not in an uncomfortable way, but once again, it's just short-term solutions. So I think in terms of the Drunk Elephant one, I kind of don't recommend you shelling out any on this.
If it's between this one and there's another one, an orange vitamin C one, I would prefer the vitamin C one because it is a cream. And again, I'm more used to using creams and that one spreads a little better.
So with a lot of the serums and toners that you use, avoid the eye area at all costs because it's got heavy BHA especially. Your under eye area skin will burn and it will wrinkle. But then when you moisturize, definitely moisturize that area. That's
I'm making this face because I just learned that a few months ago.
When I found out, I was like, shocking!
Like the pharmacy AHA honeymoon
Oh my God.
glow. I'm just like, yeah!
I was like, you're basically creating wrinkles for yourself. So as well as mixing your like moisturizer with a simple moisturizer and creating your own eye cream, you can also use Vaseline, which is a really good occlusive to help moisturize and keep the moisture under your skin there as well. It's really safe. Just use a little bit. You don't have to like go ham on it.
So with all of this is to just share with you guys that our eyes, the problems we associate with our eyes, darkness, puffiness, dryness, it has a lot more to do with our overall holistic health.
Because at first I thought it really wasn't that interrelated, especially with like salt and stuff. But after watching a bunch of videos and researching and looking at like medical texts, like it has everything to do with the inside, which I thought was really interesting. And even Eastern and Western doctors, they both say that just by looking at a person, they can tell your inner functioning of the body. Don't think that darkness and puffiness is just external and you can solve it with like creams like this. Yes, this helps to moisturize, but that's basically it.
It's funny because when Felicia first started working on the script, it was supposed to be like a eye cream 101, like the cleansing 101, toner 101, where we go in depth about like all the benefits of this product. But after doing research, we're like, wait,
That's just like
different.
Yeah.
I think this will probably be the only product where we didn't full on recommend that it's a necessity in your skincare routine.
Because it is just a moisturizer. Make sure you've caught up on all the prior steps, which are very important as well. If you have any questions about anything, let us know. And the next installment of our skincare series is retinol.
So we're gonna start getting into specific ingredients.
Thanks for watching. Bye.